The placement of this mace opens the 18th commencement of the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences. Good morning, honored guests, members of the Board of Regents, faculty, staff, students, and ladies and gentlemen. and welcome to the commencement ceremony of the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences class of 1997. Will you please remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the University Brigade Color Guard, and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem by the President's Own, the United States Marine Band, under the direction of First Lieutenant Michael J. Colburn. Please feel free to join in to sing the national anthem. Advance the colors. The invocation will be delivered by the university's chaplain, Commander Alfonso Jones, United States Navy.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we are here to celebrate the ending of one journey and the beginning of another. We're here to celebrate with the class of 97 and the completion of their academic journey through the medical and graduate school. The smiling faces we see and the laughter we hear reminds us of your word, which states that at the end of one's labor, one shall enter the joy of one's reward. We are also here to celebrate a new beginning, one which is exciting but can also be overwhelming. We pray for your continued presence with them. Guide them to use their skills for good and not for evil. Help them to realize that because of their training and profession, that they are not here to be ministered to, but to minister to others. Let your presence continue in this ceremony. In your name we pray. Amen.
Our Master of Ceremony is Dr. Michael Sheridan, Associate Dean, Graduate Education.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Brigade Color Guard and the President's Own, the United States Marine Band. Today's ceremony is a formal recognition of personal achievement. In addition to our student graduates, the university will honor a number of individuals who, through their personal accomplishments, have contributed significantly to medicine and education in America. These awards are described in detail in your program. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to present to you Dr. James A. Zimble, President, Uniformed Services University. Dr. Zimble.
Welcome members of the F. Edward A. Baer School of Medicine and Graduate School of Nursing classes of 1997. Members of Congress, distinguished guests, flag and general officers, faculty, family, and friends. As you all know, we lost two friends and important figures in the history of our university. I would like to take one moment of silence in the memory of Dr. J.P. Sanford, Dean Emeritus and former President of the Uniformed Services University, and the Honorable David Packer, former Chair of the Uniformed Services University Board of Regents. Thank you. Today, I have the distinct privilege of introducing the 1997 commencement speaker, senior scholar, C. Everett Koop Institute, Dartmouth College, and former United States Public Health Service Surgeon General, Dr. C. Everett Koop. But I have been admonished not to wander from this script because this is a long ceremony. But I'm the president, so I just want to say a few things about Dr. Koop. Dr. Koop, you have a full bio in your programs. What's not there is the fact that he's been an inspiration to generations of medical students and physicians throughout his long career. He was my personal inspiration on my first clinical rotation as a third-year medical student when I scrubbed in with Dr. Koop, and has been my personal inspiration ever since. He is a strong friend of this university, and he holds the record of having given two prior commencement addresses. This will be his third. He should have it down by now. But at any rate, it is with a great pleasure and personal privilege that I introduce C. Everett Koop.
If I had been asked to speak at commencement for the third time in any place other than Washington, I would assume it was a dearth of speakers. But here I have to count it as a very special honor. And it is indeed a tremendous pleasure for me to be with you to share in your sense of accomplishment and joy on the occasion of your graduation from this great institution with which I have been privileged to have an association in one way or another since 1981. It has been your privilege to receive and work for an education marked by academic excellence. And although I know each of you has earned the well-deserved individual recognition we afford you today, I know that you could not have done it alone. In addition to the support that you have received from the faculty, the administration, the staff of this fine school, many of you have also enjoyed the support, emotional and spiritual as well as material, from your parents and other family members. And I'm honored to have been chosen as your commencement speaker, and it is my intention that my remarks today will be both memorable and brief. I know they must be brief if they are to be memorable, because you have much more on your minds today than listening to me. But I do want you to listen to me for a few minutes, because I truly believe that my remarks today about the doctor-patient relationship will help you, each of you, to become the kind of physician that you and your parents really want you to be. Of all the graduates of medical schools this year, I truly believe that you are the most fortunate. I can't think of a better place to be than in federal medicine as we, as a profession, go through what will be looked upon as one of the most difficult medical transitions in our history. And even though you will not personally be experiencing some of the things your peers will encounter in the next few years, you must keep abreast of policy and of practice changes. Eventually, most of you will enter the world of medicine and take into that the experiences and the beliefs that you garner in military medicine. And it will then not be too late to put into use those qualities of leadership that are your legacy. I get around quite a bit these days. In a typical month, it's not unusual to fly from northeast United States to southwest and then do it from northwest to southeast, stopping off here and there in the middle. And what doctors and patients tell me about each other is increasingly disturbing. Patients tell me that they don't trust doctors the way they did in the past. They find doctors to be impersonal, aloof, difficult to understand, and always overly busy. Doctors tell me that their patients are either sullen or aggressive, and that the shadow of litigation darkens every patient-physician encounter, making the doctor even afraid of helping the person most on his mind at the moment. Not only do I get around a lot, but I've been around a lot. And I've been practicing medicine now for well over half a century, and there aren't many physicians who can say that. And in that time, I've seen a lot that explains the changes that have taken place in the doctor-patient relationship. And putting things into historical perspective may help us to see the issues with greater clarity. You newly minted physicians will hear many of us old geezers yearn for the good old days. But in many ways, the good old days and the new days share common problems as well as opportunities. I don't imagine any of us wants to return to the real old days, because for most of the history of medicine, the doctor-patient relationship had its ups and downs in an environment when medicine really couldn't do very much to cure the sick. For most of medical history, even for most of American medical history, diseases were rarely understood, pain and death could rarely be averted, and the most dramatic therapies of choice, bleeding and cupping and purging and blistering, were embraced by doctor and patient alike, not out of any empirical evidence that they were beneficial, but out of a conviction that the doctor had to do something. And today we look back on this era of so-called heroic medicine in disbelief, realizing as more and more of those patients and doctors came to realize that, for example, King Charles I died at the hands of his executioners with far less suffering than his son did at the hands of his physicians. And maybe the issues of that distant age are not so far from us as we face similar problems with our versions of heroic measures in medicine today, when the imperative to do something, especially something dramatic and high-tech, can lead patients today to fear and even distrust their physicians. Then in the first half of the 19th century, the doctor-patient relationship entered a new phase, as the practice of heroic medicine declined at about the same time as the democratization of American society increased in the time of President Andrew Jackson. You historians will remember that this was known as the era of the common man. And many people concluded then that doctors, who still had very little either in their knowledge or their little black bags that could cure people, that these doctors use Latin expressions and big words just to confuse patients and to appear important, and that ordinary people could probably do their own doctoring as well as physicians. And so from the eastern seaboard to what was then our western frontier, alternative medical sects flourished, for-profit, fly-by-night medical schools sprang up, purveyors of miracle medicines fleeced the public regularly, and ordinary doctors tried to out-hustle each other in a medical marketplace driven by competition and buyer beware. Now, although I'm describing mid-19th century American medicine, I'm sure you can see how well that description could fit some of today's health care. With traditional medicine today torn by controversy over alternative therapies, still promises of miracle drugs, educational turmoil, for-profit medical organizations and public accusations that some doctors are more interested in money than they are in medicine. But then, and remember, I'm racing right along in a 3-minute summary of millions of doctor-patient relationships, with truly dramatic suddenness, the efficacy of medicine and the quality of the doctor-patient relationship took a dramatic upswing as late 19th and early 20th century medical milestones such as anesthesia, antisepsis, antitoxins, antibiotics, the very basis of modern scientific medicine, at last meant that doctors could really do something to cure disease, to alleviate suffering, and to prolong life. And people began to go to hospitals and doctors not to die, but to get well. And patients responded by placing unprecedented trust in their doctors, and society responded by affording the medical profession the honor and the authority and the wealth and the power to which it became accustomed in the middle of this, our century. That was the medical world into which it was my privilege to enter, a medical world in which I enjoyed a 40-year career as a pediatric surgeon, a medical world in which every day, it seemed, we were able to do more and more for our patients, and each year, more and more people enjoyed coverage by medical insurance. It was an era when indemnity medical insurance paid more and more for more and more treatments. But then, beginning in the 1970s and culminating in the 1990s, came the breakdown of what is called the Payer-Provider Pact, that golden era when insurance companies willingly paid whatever physicians charged for whatever it was that they did. Now, although that arrangement naturally led to runaway healthcare costs, while it lasted, it meant that for most Americans, for the first time in history, economic considerations were usually removed from the patient-doctor relationship. And then, as healthcare costs soared out of sight in the 1980s, driven up by a variety of factors, expensive technology, malpractice expenses, physicians' fees, healthcare worker wages, an aging population, and increased demand, and so on, the Payer-Provider Pact came undone when people who paid the most for healthcare, namely insurance companies, business, and taxpayers, said, enough is enough. And suddenly, economic issues began to play a major role in the patient-doctor relationship, as patients had to cough up higher and higher deductibles and co-payments, and as doctors realized that they were not going to get paid for a procedure or a consultation unless an insurance company clerk gave them approval. Now, these economic issues lie behind the recent managed care movement. As my Dartmouth colleague Gil Welch puts it, managed care can mean many things to many people, and it is always changing. But, says he, in its broadest sense, managed care means that no longer will doctors be able to do whatever they want to do and to charge whatever they want for doing it. Now, some of the reasons for the breakdown of the Provider-Payer Pact and its consequent impact upon the patient-doctor relationship may have come directly from that relationship itself. As insurance companies began to scream that doctors and patients alike, always banking on someone else to pay the bill, were demanding more health care than was truly medically appropriate in individual cases. But other reasons were more remote, but perhaps even more powerful. For example, as the global economy became more competitive in the 1980s, American business, long accustomed to a dominant position, found itself losing ground to foreign competitors. And since most American health insurance actually comes as a fringe benefit to employment, American business strove to keep competitive by reducing its health insurance costs. In other words, many Americans had their doctor-patient relationship changed and their medical options considerably narrowed, not because of anything desired by either the doctor or the patient, not for any medical reason, but because Motorola and Chrysler were not as profitable as were Sony and BMW. So economic factors continued to alter the doctor-patient relationship as never before, as more people, such as insurance clerks, business CEOs, company controllers, city treasurers, and a variety of bean counters, in their combined efforts to hold down costs, actually crowded into the doctor's office to intrude into a relationship that until recently had just been between the patient and his or her physician. And so now the economic issues have led to the accelerated growth of market-based managed care, and at a rate actually unforeseen by either supporters or opponents of managed care. In many cases, earlier managed care has lived up to its ideals, with far more attention to preventive care, with medical practices standardized to produce better outcomes, and with the elimination of many unnecessary tests and procedures. But the more recently launched managed care ventures are based upon the expressed rationale that competitive market forces will bring lower costs, increased efficiency, and higher quality to health care. I have to confess that I have some real reservations about the ability of market forces alone to do what is best for the health of the American people. Americans who have spent much of this century fighting the forces of totalitarian states need to be on guard about the totalitarian forces that are present in the marketplace. Our market economy has a great ability to supply plenty to many, but I am deeply concerned about the millions of Americans who live in poverty on the fringes of this otherwise affluent society. These are our fellow citizens for whom market-driven health care will offer less and less year by year. The growing concern about the problems of managed care are already provoking the historic American pattern of reemergence of regulation to curb the excesses of the market. The latest type of pulp fiction, or you could say pulp fact, the HMO horror story, has already produced legislation in a variety of state legislatures forcing HMOs to do more that patients demand. But while patient assertiveness and combativeness may correct some of the problems of managed care, I think there is a better way. I think that many of the problems that managed care have presented to medicine might have been avoided if physicians had not let their sense of professionalism languish in the last decade or so, as I really believe it has. We need a revitalization of physician professionalism, and it is with this charge to you that I will conclude my remarks today. Remember that society affords certain privileges and compensation to professionals, but it expects something in return. For example, members of a profession are expected to work not by the hour, but until the job is done. But an increasing number of physicians, especially in managed care organizations, work a shift and then they go home. Members of a profession are expected to police themselves. But we must admit that medicine, along with some other professions, has too often coddled the bad apples instead of removing them from the barrel. Members of a profession are expected to maintain a higher ethic, often confirmed by an oath. I'd imagine that very few Americans today would say that physicians, in general, embody an ethic higher than that of society, as it once was. The once proud and demanding Hippocratic oath is abandoned or diluted by more medical students year by year. The members of a profession are also expected to give something back to society, to donate to those in need. And yet the idea of donating services to society lingers on today in only a few settings, as most physicians expect to be compensated for every procedure and every consultation. Finally, and this is the hallmark of a profession, members of a profession are expected to place the interests of those whom they serve, patients, clients, students, etc., above their own interests. Now, managed care will either bury this hallowed hallmark of our profession, or our commitment to professionalism will correct many of the problems of managed care. And I have to say, ladies and gentlemen of the graduating class, that it is up to you. But we, your colleagues, and your patients will help. Godspeed, doctors.
Thank you for your presentation, Chick. On behalf of the university I'm honored to present this token of our appreciation.
Four recipients have been chosen to receive honorary degrees. Dr. Zimbel will present the Doctor of Military Medicine honoris causa to Dr. Koop.
C. Everett Koop has an international reputation as a physician, scholar, and humanitarian who has honored us by his presence and thoughts. Today, not only for his lifelong service to our nation, but also as a longtime friend of this university, we recognize him with this degree, Doctor of Military Medicine, honoris causa. C. Everett Koop, as physician, scholar, and humanitarian, you have devoted your life to the improvement of the healthcare profession and to the welfare of Americans and others throughout the world. As U.S. Surgeon General, you are the nation's conscience for health care and health promotion. Almost single-handedly, you also improve the vision that most Americans have of our house of medicine. In the process, you ensured that basic science research, academic medicine, and the health professions were held to only the highest standards. In his essay, The Practice, William Carlos Williams reflected that calling on people at all times and under all conditions, the coming to grips with the intimate conditions of their lives when they were ill, has always absorbed me. Your career has been the epitome of Williams' remarks and more. Your values and ideals have touched our collective soul, and your integrity and conduct has been an inspiration to patients, students, friends, and colleagues around the world. The physicians, nurses, and scientists of the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Public Health Service serve their nation proudly in the shadow of your unfinished legacy and along the path of public service which you continue to blaze with such distinction. For your personal and professional commitment to the people of America and to the members of the uniformed services, this university, your nation's only federal healthcare university, takes great pride in awarding you the degree of Doctor of Medicine, Military Medicine, honoris causa.
Dr. Zimbel will present the Doctor of Medical Jurisprudence honoris causa to the Honorable Ronald W. Reagan. Accepting on President Reagan's behalf is Brigadier General John E. Hutton, Jr., Medical Corps, United States Army, retired.
As surgeon in our Department of Surgery, Dr. Hutton was personal physician to President Reagan at the White House, a role he continues even today. President Ronald W. Reagan, your nation recognizes and honored you as our leader, statesman, and commander-in-chief for 8 years. For more than 50 years, your zeal, vision, and devotion to the highest ideals of public service have profoundly shaped this nation. For the time you unselfishly answered your nation's call in World War II, you never once forgot the needs and concerns of the men and women who also serve their nation. Millions of soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines benefited from your uncompromising commitment to excellence in the delivery of federal health care. Under your diligent stewardship, legislation to provide and improve federal and military health care facilities worldwide has continued to bring the highest quality of medicine to the armed forces. Numerous health care and research programs resulted from your tenacious battle to assure that federal health care providers have the tools necessary to save lives or to enhance the quality of life for those they serve. Your vision and wisdom was put to the test and proven sound from the battlefields of Grenada, Lebanon, Panama, and the Persian Gulf, and to the centers of health care and clinics that serve America's fighting forces throughout the world. During a time of severe budgetary constraints, you pioneered the containment of healthcare costs and in the process redeemed scarce federal dollars. Your spirit, leadership, and humanity have provided a priceless legacy for this nation. Your patriotism and concern for all members of America's armed forces have earned you our undying respect. The Uniformed Services University of Health Sciences, your nation's health sciences university, therefore, having benefited from your efforts and energies, takes great pride in awarding you the Doctor of Medical Jurisprudence honoris causa.
In a recent conversation with General Hutton, Mrs. Reagan, who now seldom leaves her husband's side, asked that these words be relayed to the graduating classes of 1979. It is with great joy and appreciation that we receive this great honor from our Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences. Though I was unable to be present when Ronnie addressed the graduating class that seems too many years ago, I so enjoyed his message and the enthusiasm with which he went to the Kennedy Center to deliver it, and especially the photograph of the poignant moment when, upon leaving the stage, he suddenly turned, facing the young graduates, stiffly coming to attention, as he was wont to do in the presence of his comrades in arms, and saluted the class in a gesture of the great appreciation he had for the selfless young men and women who so diligently served their country, and for the medical profession who twice gave him back his life. It is with enormous gratitude that we accept this honor and the kind thought that we still remain so alive in your minds. Please preserve forever the wonderful spirit that dominates your institution. It has become a national treasure. Were we with you, I know our eyes would be moist. And John, please salute the class for Ronnie. With love to you all, Nancy and Ronald Reagan. Dr. Zimble will present the Doctor of Military Medicine honoris causa to Vice Admiral Donald L. Custis, Medical Corps, United States Navy, retired.
Vice Admiral Donald L. Custis, U.S. Navy, retired, physician and healthcare activist. Dr. Custis has established a long history of activism in the support of military medicine and our beneficiaries, active, retired, and their families. He has also actively contributed to this university, both while Surgeon General of the Navy and in the years since he retired from active duty. The university therefore awards him today with the degree Doctor of Military Medicine honoris causa. Donald L. Custis, you are a pillar of modern medicine. For more than half a century, your zeal, vision, and commitment to the highest ideals of excellence have shaped our medical community. You have unselfishly served your nation and provided leadership to numerous professional organizations. Your efforts have resulted in countless improvements in the quality of the medical care rendered to patients and to education of medical providers. You have woven an intricate tapestry of medical innovation and efficiency with principles of selflessness and dedication. As a member of the university's Board of Regents, you have been a luminary for the continuous improvement in the quality of medical education. The course you chartered has helped bring us through some of the most trying times of this university's history. Today's healthcare providers serving our nation around the world do so as a direct result of your commitment to excellence in education and service. Today, as our nation stands at the threshold of a new millennium, your expertise has helped provide the bridge from the past to the future. Through your leadership, military medical systems are now stronger and stand at the forefront as the nation's model for medicine. As our mentor, you have also helped the Uniformed Services University continue to be the nation's unique institution of federal medical education. Your university takes great pride in awarding you the degree of Doctor of Military Medicine, honoris causa.
Dr. Zembel will present the Doctor of Medical Jurisprudence, honoris causa, to the Honorable Constance Morella.
Congresswoman Constance Morella has faithfully served the state of Maryland and the people of the United States and is well recognized as a humanitarian. She has also been a leader in furthering a wider public understanding of and support for scientific research, education, women's issues, and health care. For her special interests and personal support, your university awards her the degree Doctor of Medical Jurisprudence, honoris causa. Constance Morella, you have unselfishly answered the call to public service, both for the state of Maryland and for this nation. You have been enthusiastic and unfailing in your support for basic scientific research and education, a broad spectrum of humanitarian and women's issues, and for health and health care prevention programs that benefit all people. Directly or through personal impact on programs and legislation, you have vastly improved the lives of people everywhere, and as a result, earned the respect and admiration of millions of Americans and others around the world. You have also directly touched the lives of tens of thousands of soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines and their families. Each are the beneficiary of your uncompromising commitment to excellence in military service and, in particular, excellence in military medicine. Your contributions to healthcare delivery systems and your support for those who serve our nation have been tested and proven on the battlefield and in health centers and clinics around the world. The university, through your personal efforts, is integral to the nation's federal medical programs. Physicians, nurses, and scientists of the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Public Health Service in large measure serve their nation proudly because of your vision, resolve, and efforts. For your commitment to the American people and members of the armed forces, the Uniformed Services University, your nation's only federal health care university, takes great pride in awarding you the degree of Doctor of Medical Jurisprudence, honoris causa.
Couldn't recognize myself from that introduction. I'm just very honored. I am very grateful. I don't believe that I'm here with such luminaries getting this honorary doctorate with Dr. Koop and President Reagan, Dr. Custis, and that I'm here with you graduates and those who've made it possible for you. Please know you have my gratitude, and I know that you will represent us well. I'm reminded that it was in 1711 that a man named Joseph Addison said, "A human soul without education is like marble in the quarry. None of its inherent beauties come out until the skill of the polisher takes it and makes it shine and brings out every ornamental vein and cloud that runs through it." Well, you graduates of the class of 1997 of USUS are that marble that has been polished by the faculty, by the administration, the Board of Regents, by your parents, by your families, your friend, and the fact that we have this wonderful university, the only medical, military university in our country. And so I know that you are going to radiate because you have been polished, and you're going to go off and you're going to serve us well in wartime and in peacetime, wherever you may go. So I salute you, I congratulate you, and I thank you very, very much for this honor.
We now move to that part of the program that recognizes the graduates of the Graduate School of Nursing of the Uniformed Services University. It's my privilege to introduce Dr. Faye Abdullah, Dean, Graduate School of Nursing. Dr. Abdullah is joined by Dr. Zimble, Dr. Lonnie Bristow, Chair of the Uniformed Services University Board of Regents, and Brigadier General Claypool, representing the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Health Services.
Thank you. On behalf of the Graduate School of Nursing, I'm honored to present the Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Student Awards.
Please turn to page 2 in your program for the following awards. The Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Student Award for the Nurse Anesthesia Program is presented to Captain Karen Marie Strand, United States Army Nurse Corps. Captain Strand, please come forward. The Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Student Award for the Family Nurse Practitioner Program is presented to Captain Elizabeth Ann Decker, United States Air Force Nurse Corps. Captain Decker, please come forward.
The Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Civilian Faculty Award is presented to Dr. Patricia McMullen. Dr. McMullen, please come forward. The Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Military Faculty Award is presented to Lieutenant Colonel Mara McAuliffe, United States Air Force Nurse Corps. Lieutenant Commander Colonel McAuliffe, please come forward.
I am pleased to introduce the President of the Graduate School of Nursing Class of 1997, Captain Karen Marie Strand, United States Army Nurse Corps. Captain Strand will present the Graduate School of Nursing Class farewell address. Captain Strand.
Distinguished guests of the university, staff and faculty, family and friends, and fellow graduates, thank you all for being here and sharing in this special day. I realized in preparing for this that whatever is said, no matter how profound or how simple, that no one will recall any of it next Saturday at this time. Of course, that's assuming that anyone's even listening right now in the first place. In fact, I know after this many years, there's not a graduate in this hall that hasn't perfected the ability to appear very interested and alert while simultaneously sitting on a beach in Bermuda somewhere in their mind. After all, how else could you have made it through some of those pharmacology lectures? Anyhow, in the last few years, thanks to your hard-earned tax dollars in funding this university, I have learned a few things, and I'd like to share some of them with you. Don't worry. It's not the differential diagnosis of hypoxia. There's way too many options on that list, and if you're like me, I'd prefer to graduate today. What I do know is that there's a definite personality type that's attracted to the healthcare professions, and certain common traits that most of us possess. Not all of them endearing traits, mind you. Just ask some of our families who've endured our behavior over the last several years. For those of you who don't possess these traits, please don't be offended. Just disregard the comments and feel free to go to Bermuda right now. However, for the majority of us, who do tend to be rather goal-oriented, hardworking, stubborn at times, on the aggressive side of assertive, a bit controlling, and convinced that we should always be right, do everything perfectly without help. Well, those of you who fit this description may recognize the ring of truth in the next few points. After all this, what I have learned is that we don't practice in a vacuum. There will always be others with more and with less experience than ourselves. And more importantly, it is okay to ask for their help. We also will never know it all. I know that one's hard to swallow. In fact, our education has really just begun. And we won't ever be perfect in our professional or in our personal lives. Imperfection is part of being human. Adapting and learning from our imperfections is what makes us unique. We all have most likely missed some important events over the last few years. Soccer games, band concerts, dance recitals, weddings, funerals, anniversaries. And we can't ever recapture those moments. But we can learn to embrace the present. Today is really all that we have, so be present. A 6-year-old child laughs 300 times a day. An adult only laughs 15 to 100 times a day. 6-year-olds know how to live in the present. Just watch them, it's exhausting. I'm not saying don't work hard or don't make difficult choices. Just embrace all that you do with passion. We all know how to be passionate about medicine and nursing and caring and new treatments for our patients. But don't forget to be equally passionate about life. Remember, it's not where or when you arrive, it's the journey that counts. In closing, I wish all of you the best. Celebrate your success, embrace the present moment, enjoy this gift of life, and may you laugh 300 times a day. Thank you.
At this time, Dean Abdullah will present the Graduate School of Nursing class of 1997 to Dr. Zimble, Dr. Bristow, and Brigadier General Claypool.
Dr. Bristow, on behalf of the faculty of the Graduate School of Nursing, I recommend to you that the degree of Master of Science in Nursing be conferred on 18 individuals. Will the candidates please rise?
By virtue of the authority vested in the university by the Congress of the United States, and upon recommendation of the faculty and dean, Graduate School of Nursing, I hereby confer the degree of Master of Science in Nursing on 18 individuals.
The following 7 graduates are receiving the Master of Science in Nursing with training as nurse practitioners. Captain Patricia L. Aiken, United States Air Force. Captain Elizabeth Ann Decker, United States Air Force. Captain Kathleen Abbott French, United States Air Force. Major Nancy Dexter Heisterman, United States Air Force. Captain Elizabeth A. Lorino, United States Air Force. Major Catherine May O'Rourke, United States Air Force. Major Penny Lynn Peterson, United States Air Force. The following 11 graduates are receiving the Master of Science in Nursing with training in nurse anesthesia. Captain Lauren R. Anderson, United States Air Force. Captain Adrian G. Burnett, United States Air Force. Captain Caroline McGrath Cutbush, United States Air Force. Captain Karen Lynn Hinkle, United States Army. Captain Jeffrey Lockwood, United States Army. Lieutenant David C. Olson, United States Navy. Captain Carol Louise Reyes, United States Air Force. Lieutenant David Allen Shepard, United States Navy. Lieutenant Vicki Lorraine Simmons, United States Navy. Captain David James Stamps, United States Air Force. Captain Karen M. Strand, United States Army. We now move to that part of the program in which we recognize graduates of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine. This first segment of the School of Medicine program recognizes recipients receiving graduate degrees. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you the Dean of the School of Medicine, Dr. Val Hemming. Dr. Hemming will at this time present the Graduate Student Service Award.
It is with pleasure I present the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences Graduate Student Service Award to Kelly Brown, Department of Medical and Clinical Psychology. The award description can be found on page 3 of your program. Kelly Brown, please come forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kelly Brown will at this time present the Graduate Student Farewell Address.
President Zimble, Dean Sheridan, Dean Hemming, Dean Abdullah, distinguished guests, faculty, parents, spouses, family, and friends. On behalf of this year's Master and PhD degree recipients, I thank you for joining us as we celebrate a pinnacle in our lives. It is important, however, that we not only recognize ourselves, but also the USUS and the faculty, students, and staff that bring it life. It is a family we are sad to leave, but proud to take with us as we embark on our new beginnings. Over the past 25 years, the USUS has dedicated itself to the pursuit of truth and knowledge in the basic and clinical health sciences. It is this loyalty to tradition and commitment to service, despite obstacles and criticisms, that we take forth as we pursue our own ambitions. Further, as graduates from a medical military institution, we take away with us a unique perspective and dedication for the preservation of life and peace. In many ways, the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences is unique. It stands alone in its commitment to excellence in producing military and civilian academicians, teachers, clinicians, practitioners, researchers, scientists, and leaders. Our education experiences here have set us apart from graduates of other academic institutions. We have been taught, counseled, and mentored by today's finest leaders in the health sciences. As new graduates from the USUS, we are now equipped with the same tools necessary to go forth and make our own special contributions. Today, we have been stamped with the proverbial seal of approval, which carries with it a responsibility for the future. Each one of us stands before you today as individuals with different gifts, skills, and ideals to contribute to that future. Collectively, however, we represent a concert of integrity, creativity, and dedication from which tomorrow's leadership will be drawn. And with great confidence, I believe we will succeed both as a symphony and in our solo performances. In closing, it is important that we new graduates recognize that we did not get this far by chance, nor did we do it alone. Consequently, this day would not be complete without a heartfelt and sincere thank you to our loved ones who have provided us with the security and unconditional support necessary to pursue our dreams and goals. It is with this love and support from our families and friends, as well as the personal contributions of many members of the USUS community, who themselves have become part of our families, that we come here today bidding farewell to the USUS as stronger, wiser, more confident, and more compassionate human beings. Thank you for sharing this special day with us.
At this time, Dr. Hemming, Dr. Zembel, Dr. Bristow, and Brigadier General Claypool will confer degrees on the graduates of the Uniformed Services University F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine graduate programs. Dr. Bristow, on behalf of the faculty of the graduate program and the Dean of the School of Medicine, I recommend to you that the degree of Master of Public Health be conferred on 9 individuals. Will the candidates please rise?
By virtue of authority vested in the university by the Congress of the United States, and upon recommendation of the faculty and dean, F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine, I confer the degree of Master of Public Health with its attendant privileges and responsibilities.
Major Jean-Robert Bernier, Canadian Army. Lieutenant Robert Dana Bradshaw, United States Air Force. Dr. Tracy Duvernoy. Major Carol Fisher, United States Air Force. Captain Linda Harris, United States Army. Captain Daniel Eisenbarger, United States Army. Karma Marino. Commander David McMillan, United States Navy. Dr. Richard Nayan, Master of Public Health. Dr. Bristow, on behalf of the faculty of the graduate program and the Dean of the School of Medicine, I recommend to you that the degree of Master of Military Medical History be conferred on 1 individual. Will the candidate please rise?
On behalf of the faculty of the graduate program and the Dean of the School of Medicine, I recommend to you that the degree of military medicine be granted By virtue of the authority vested in the university by the Congress of the United States, and upon recommendation of the faculty and dean, F. Edward A. Baer School of Medicine, I hereby confer the degree Master of Military Medical History with its attendant privileges and responsibilities.
Captain Thomas Johnson, Jr., Department of Military Medical History. This is the first degree in military medical history to be awarded by the F. Edward A. Baer School of Medicine. Dr. Bristow, on behalf of the faculty of the graduate program and the dean of the School of Medicine, I recommend to you that the degree of Doctor of Philosophy be conferred on 4 individuals. Will the candidates please rise?
By virtue of the authority vested in the university by the Congress of the United States, and upon recommendation of the faculty and dean, F. Edward A. Baer School of Medicine, I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with its attendant privileges and responsibilities.
Kristen Blake Bruzini, Doctor of Philosophy, Department of Anatomy and Cellular Biology. Kelly Brown, Doctor of Philosophy, Department of Medical and Clinical Psychology. Robert Howell, Doctor of Philosophy, Department of Medical and Clinical Psychology. Major John Henry Trakowski, Jr., Doctor of Philosophy, Department of Medical and Clinical Psychology. Major Trakowski is the recipient of the first doctorate awarded in clinical psychology by the F. Edward A. Baer School of Medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to that portion of the ceremony devoted to the graduates who will receive the degree Doctor of Medicine. 8 of these graduates have won special recognition for their scholarship, professionalism, and public service.
The Board of Regents Award is the highest honor a graduating senior can receive. Second Lieutenant Inger M. Lara, United States Army. Please come forward. The Society of Medical Consultants to the Armed Forces has established an award to be given annually to the class valedictorian. This year, the award is presented by Dr. Paul Gleason, Vice President, Medical Consultants to the Armed Forces, to Ensign Michael P. Keith, United States Navy Reserve. Ensign Keith. The Association of Military Surgeons of the United States award consists of a lifetime membership in the association, a plaque, and a monetary award. On behalf of the association this year, the award will be presented by Dr. Zimble to Second Lieutenant Casey E. Duncan, United States Air Force. Second Lieutenant Duncan.
It is my distinct pleasure to present the Army Surgeon General Award to Second Lieutenant Michael Dugopolsky, U.S. Army Reserve.
Surgeon General's Award for the United States Navy will be presented by Vice Admiral Koenig.
It is my pleasure to present the award to Ensign Keith, United States Navy Reserve. I'm sorry, they didn't turn a page. Ensign Wilds. But I'm going to catch the book up for everybody else here.
Lieutenant General Charles H. Rodman II, Medical Corps, Surgeon General of the Air Force, will present the next award.
Thank you for finding the page, Hal. It's my great pleasure to present the United States Air Force Surgeon General Award to Second Lieutenant Charles D. Chaz Riley.
Rear Admiral Audrey F. Manley, Acting Surgeon General of the United States Public Health Service, will present the next award.
It is my pleasure to present the United States Public Health Service Surgeon General's Award to Ensign Laurie E. Olness.
Dean Hemming will now present the William P. Clements Jr. Award and the Outstanding Civilian Educator Award. These two awardees were chosen by the graduating medical class. The William P. Clements Jr. Award is presented to Colonel Donald Steinweg, Medical Corps, United States Army. Colonel Steinweg, please come forward. The Outstanding Civilian Educator Award is presented an unprecedented second time to Dr. Rosemary Cecilia Bork, Associate Professor, Department of Anatomy. Dr. Bork, please come forward. The Esprit de Corps Award recipient is selected annually by the members of the graduating class to recognize one of their own. The individual selected is not listed in your program because the class, by tradition, keeps it secret until this moment. This award is presented by Dr. Richard McDonnell, Associate Dean for Student Affairs, and by Colonel Donald Steinweg, Assistant Dean for Clinical Sciences. Dr. McDonnell?
The class of 1997 selects Melissa Givens. Please come forward.
I am pleased to introduce the president of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine's class of 1997. As her last official act as class president, Second Lieutenant Enger Lara, United States Army Reserve, will present the medical class farewell address.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Koop, distinguished members of Congress, Board of Regents, President Zimble, and Dean Hemming, faculty, visitors, family, and friends, it is truly an honor to welcome you to the 18th annual Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences graduation ceremony. Speaking for my fellow classmates, we are proud to share this much-awaited day with all of you. When asking some of my fellow classmates what I should talk about, brevity seemed to be the key thing, so I'm going to try and keep this as short as possible. Today is a great day. Not only does the day confirm respect for our country's armed forces, but it also marks the conclusion of an incredible 4 years. On behalf of the class of 1997, I would like to extend a thank you to the administration and the faculty at the university and those at the many sites where we had done our clinical rotations. You have taught, mentored, inspired, and helped us believe in ourselves and our dreams of becoming physicians. It has been a privilege to have such a gifted and committed faculty and administration who safely guided, challenged, and educated us every step of the way. Many of the staff have invited us into their offices and homes, and there began friendships that are as invaluable as our education. We thank you, and we will truly miss you. Equally important are the infinite thanks to our family and friends, who unselfishly gave us the love and unwavering support needed for traversing the steep peaks and dark canyons we navigated on our way to this very day. We never could have done it without you. And let us not forget that gathered before me is the class of 1997. We could not have done it without each other. We have always worked together, as exemplified in our outstanding performance in the swamps of Quantico, deserts of Camp Bullis, and the jungles of the hospital wards. We are the pioneers of the combined microbiology pathology exams, the new lottery system, and much, much more, which includes being there for one another during many personal challenges over the last 4 years. And somehow, through the many long nights studying in the MDLs, LRC, nights on call in the hospital, we've achieved our goal, and we did it together. Every graduating senior shares a great sense of pride. The bonds and memories created over the last 4 years are just the foundation to a lifetime of friendship and camaraderie that will be with each of us always. Robert Frost wrote in The Road Not Taken, 2 roads diverged in the wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. When each one of us graduating today decided to attend USUS, we chose a path that is not the conventional route to attaining a medical degree. We are special, and our path and mission are unique. On our first day at USUS, we took the Hippocratic Oath, and we took an oath of office to serve our nation. Our curriculum incorporates general and medical military relevant material, and our mission is to support our country's service personnel here in the United States and in the austere conditions that are encountered in worldwide deployments in military combat. For any mission, under any condition, any place in the world, even above it and below it, in combat and in humanitarian relief, we will serve. Today truly is a great day. Already officers, today we become physicians. I wish the best of luck to every graduating senior, and we know this is not the end, but a true commencement, as our paths will cross again. And whenever we meet, we stand together in global service as members of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine, Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences, and the class of 1997. Thank you.
Dr. Bristow, on behalf of the faculty and the Dean of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine, I recommend to you that the degree Doctor of Medicine be conferred on the 164 members of the 1997 graduating class. Will the candidates please rise?
By virtue of the authority vested in the university by the Congress of the United States, and upon the recommendation of the faculty and dean, F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine, I hereby confer the degree of Doctor of Medicine with its attendant privileges and responsibilities.
The graduating class has selected Dr. Jack McKenzie, Professor, Department of Physiology, to read their names for this ceremony.
On behalf of the faculty of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine, I proudly present the graduates of the class of 1997. Michael Philip Abel. Philip M. Adriano. Thomas Christopher Elwine. Hernan Orlando Altamar. Sheridan Paulette Angel. Mark Anthony Antonesi. Adrian Wendy Askew. Izell Askew Jr. Carolyn Virginia Auburn. Carrie Lynn Baden. Edward Hutchins Bailey. Michael Charles Barrows. Robert Vincent Barthel. Robert Raymond Bates, Jr. Gregory Hyatt Bean. Michael R. Bell. Brianna Colette Berezovich. Jennifer Lynn Betts. Charles Samuel Blackadar. Jessica N. Bonner. Craig Borgie. Lorene Edwards Braun. Scott Evans Britsky. Tracy Thompson Brown. Han Quang Bui. Rachel Ann Burke. Richard Owen Burney. Eric Roy Byland. Jeffrey Michael Cullen. Arthur Leslie Campbell III. Darren Edward Campbell. Thomas James Cantalina. Michael Carlisle Casiello. Eric Michael Chavez. Matthew Alexander Clark. Michael Andrew Cole. Michael Paul Dalgetti. Patrick J. Danaher. Colin Yuri Daniels. Ta Fan Daniels. Rhonda Dean. Shad H. Deering. Rushira S. Design. Michael Dogopolsky. William Randolph Dodge II. Brad H. Douglas. Daniel H. Duffy. Casey Ellis Duncan. David Mark Easty. Shannon D. Emery. Ronald W. England. Gretchen M. Esplin. Philip Thomas Farabah. Jeffrey H. Feinberg. Cheryl L. Folson. Lena Friend Hackeling. Derek A. Gagno. David P. Gallus. Juan Garza. Kelly Ryan Gillespie. Melissa L. Givens. Wayne Matthew Gluff. Eric J. Gorley. Jonathan Carson Grow. Stacy Lee Grum. Carlos S. Guevara. Mary Leiden Guy. John Patrick Harvey. Kari Kent Heber. Donald Lee Hellman, Jr. Michael John Higgins. Jeffrey V. Hill. Susan Lynn Hill. Robert Henry Beckham Holland. Robert Thomas Howard. Jamia Elizabeth Howell. Daniel Jason Irizarry. David Cullimore Ives. Christopher G. Jarvis. John Morris Johnson. Joseph Clark Johnson Wall. Michael Patrick Keith. William Charles Kepler III. Kurt G. Kenny. Jeffrey Kenny Klotz. Craig Tyndall Kopecki. Michael Allen Kuhn. Christopher L. Lang. Brent Patrick Liedl. Katerina Maria Lent. Inger Marie Lira. William D. Lusink. Dale Howard Lewandowski. Mark David Lockett. Sean McLeod. Mikkel Andrea Maddox. Gary L. Martin. Kevin F. McCarthy. Sharon Patricia Wynn McKiernan. Ian Keith McLeod. Hugh McSwain. Sean Kevin McVeigh. Daniel Carl Melnicki. Greg Joseph Montalto. Charles Duke Mutzinger. Andrew Jason Murtu. Mark Andrew Nasir. Christine Moritz Nefsi. Andrew Osazi Obamwani. Lori E. Olness. Susanna Q. Olness. Tandy Garth Olson. Tarek Hasmukh Patel. Denise Lynn Pete. Jeremy Goodrich Perkins. Antoine Pham. Suzanne Kristen Pia. Frederick Joseph Reed. Charles Daniel Riley. Matthew Sprague Rice. Eric Matthew Ritter. Rochelle Gandia Rodriguez. Troy Wayne Ross. Karen Ann Ryan. David Scott Sacher. Mark William Sankey. Susan A. Schoemaker. Laura Schutz. Daniel Franklin Seidensticker. Dale Marcus Selby. Mark Allen Seldes. Danny T. Show. Sean Micah Shockey. Adam Hale Sims. Nitin Singh. Patrick Lawrence Sinopol. Melissa A. Sipe. Patrick Stephen Sipe. George H. Smith. John H. Smith, Jr. Richard R. Smith. Jonette Asenth Sorkin. Keith Douglas Sumi. Timothy Scott Talbot. Brahilda Kokos Tenaza. Sean Francis Thomas. Raymond F. Top. Mark Howard Tucker. Anthony P. Tavarianis. Bradley Scott Vanderveen. Rodney A. Villanueva. Lynn G. Vicks. Matthew John Vreeland. William D. Watson. Nicole Christine Wattendorf. Kimberly Ann Winner. Rebecca Lynch Werner. Harvey B. Wiles. Joseph Anthony Williams. Jeffrey Weinbrenner. Linda Warren Winter. Justin Trevor Woodson. Craig M. Zelig. Dustin Zirald.
As the last medical degree recipient left the stage, the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine has graduated 2,471 medical officers to join the ranks of the United States Army, Navy, Air Force, and the United States Public Health Service medical departments. Additionally, the School of Medicine has conferred 476 basic science degrees, including 39 Masters of Science, 248 Master of Public Health, 21 Master of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene, 1 Master of Military Medical History, and 167 Doctor of Philosophy degrees. The Graduate School of Nursing has conferred 38 Master of Science in Nursing degrees.
Members of the class of 1997, you swore the oath of Hippocrates as you entered this medical school 4 years ago. It has guided your conduct as students of medicine. Please stand, raise your right hand, and swear it again so it may guide your practice as physicians. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine and just and generous to its members, that I will lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honor, that into whatsoever home I shall enter, it shall be for the good of the sick and the well, to the utmost of my power, and that I will hold myself aloof from wrong and from corruption and from tempting of others to vice, that I will exercise my art solely for the cure of my patients and the prevention of disease, and will give no drugs and perform no operation for a criminal purpose, and far less suggest such thing. That whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of men, which is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep secret. These I do promise, and in proportion as I am faithful to this oath, may happiness and good repute be ever mine. The opposite, if I shall be forsworn. Thank you. Please be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, having received their doctoral degrees, the members of the Uniformed Services University medical class of 1997 have removed their academic robes and now wear their service uniforms to take their oaths as commissioned officers in their respective service. The Surgeons General will now commission the graduates in their respective branches of service.
Army graduates, please stand. Raise your right hands and repeat after me. I, state your name, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Army graduates, hoorah! Please be seated.
United States Navy graduates, please stand. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Please be seated.
As we welcome you to being colleagues in the profession of healing arts, we'd like to welcome you to the profession of arms. Would the Air Force graduates please stand? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, state your name, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations.
Will the United States Public Health Service graduates please stand? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, state your name, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations, and you may be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the benediction and remain standing for the alma mater.
Let us pray. Dear God, we thank you for what has just transpired. We pray for your continued presence in the lives of those gathered here today. Be with the class of 97 as they venture forward in the path that you have set for them. Help them to work in your service as they serve in the capacities that they work so hard to obtain. Dismiss us now with all spiritual grace and benediction. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please join the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences Choral Group, the Dermatomes, joined by members of the graduating class, in singing the school's alma mater. The lyrics can be found on the last page of your program. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the 1997 commencement ceremony. Please remain standing until the recessional is completed. Thank you. Faculty marshals, please lead the recessional.